Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dasa Bhagavado Arahado Samma Sambuddhasa. Namo Dasa Bhagavado Arahado Samma Sambuddhasa. Namo Dasa Bhagavado Arahado Samma Sambuddhasa. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tudiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tudiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tudiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tadiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tadiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tadiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhavadang Samadhiyami, Adinnadana Veramani Sikkhavadang Samadhiyami, Kamesu Miccasara Veramani Sikkhavadang Samadhiyami, Musavada Veramani Sikkhavadang Samadhiyami, Sura Meraya Majjapama Tattana Veramani Sikkhavadang Samadhiyami. Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Thank you, Leja.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. So today we are almost at the end of the part 2 and would be starting with the part 3 of Buddha and his Dhamma. I hope you all are able to hear me properly.
Yes, Bhanteji.
Yes, Bhanteji.
So the last part was, it's not the new thing, but it is just the response of the Parivrajikas who had heard the first sermon of Buddha. And it was an acceptance, as we say, Dhamma Palan Gatha. We always say, no, Dhamma Palan. We'll follow what you have said to us. And to follow that, we want to be the permanent disciple for you. With what you are telling, we would be following it. So it was the response of Parivrajika, and the real thing, they just in very good gesture, they repeated the things what Buddha had told them. Like that in the history, no one was there to tell them that suffering, recognition of suffering is the main thing. The basis of the suffering is what, and how the removal of suffering, what it is. All these things, they just repeated themselves as if they got to know everything. And they said, this has happened first time through Buddha, and how his teachings are telling salvation, not salvation from the life, but salvation of the sufferings, and how very simple way he expressed to them, he explained to them and how everything is like till now what was happening, like everyone was very following the supernatural. They were thinking of supernatural things. They were thinking that some superhuman will come and save them. But how Buddha said there is no such kind of soul, no God, and no life after death, and how they can come up, still they can come out of their sufferings. How the Buddha said that his Dhamma is for the social needs, it's not for the single person. Yes, obviously, single person makes a society, but still, the Dhamma is for the whole society, how it works, and how the happiness is not gained from anyone else except themselves. How they can, in this earth, how they can work for their happiness themselves. They can have their own efforts to live a good life and happy life. And therefore, they said that it's a kind of new dhamma for them, which is based on all the moral values. And they just uttered that Buddha was a revolutionist because nothing happened before this. No one tried to say this. No one dared to go against what the traditions were there at that time, and how courageously he went against all the tradition which was not good for a man or the society. So they said that he was a good reformer, and he was very right to explain his knowledge to the people. He was very self-controlled and self-cultured himself. So others were very eager and very impressed to take everything what he said. And then lastly, they just request Buddha that he should accept them as his disciples. Now, because they were not householders, all the five of them, they were already living without their family. So it was very easy for Buddha to ask them to say, Ehi Bhikkhave. Ehi Bhikkhave is the word where Buddha calls them, yes, you are accepted. And thus the Sangha was formed. A Bhikkhu Sangha was formed by these five Parivrajikas, commonly known as Panchavargya Bhikkhus. So the word Bhikkhu came into existence, the word Bhikkhu Sangha came into existence just by uttering the words Ehi Bhikkhave by the Buddha. So, how all the things which Buddha has explained, we can understand what Buddha teaches them only by this. If you understand properly this response of Parivrajika, we will understand what Buddha explained them and what is the knowledge he want to give to the people, to the society, to come out of these sufferings. So, and how the Parivrajikas became the Bhikkhu Sangha. So, this was the real start of the work of Buddha to spread his knowledge among the human being for humanity, we can say. So, this was the first step which he started. Till then, he was alone. He alone gained the knowledge. This, what we say, as a sentient being or as a highest knowledge, we can say he gained alone, and he was in search of whom to tell them and who would be taking his thoughts, his teachings to the people, and he got these five Parivrajikas to take it. Now, the next part of this book, that is the third part of the it explains us about the conversion of the high and the holy. Now, the first chapter of this is the conversion of Yasha. Yash, we say, Yash. Who was he? He was one of the uh, a young boy from a very wealthy family, we can say. Here it is given here the details of him that he was staying in Banaras and he was very wealthy, means we can say he had abundant wealth, so much that he was always surrounded by people who were serving to him, who were guarding him. He has nothing lacking. Even he was surrounded by many women. So, as he was very young and attractive and wealthy too, so his life was like very, we can say, he was experiencing his life as a very rich person with enjoyment, sensual lust, we can say. He had nothing to think about. He had nothing to think about the food. He had nothing to think about the wealth. He had nothing to think about how he will live a life, because everything he got it ready-made from his family. So he was living in pleasure, drinking, dancing, eating, and everything he was enjoying. But it is said that what everything which end to the extremes, it goes to the extremes. There a point comes where they feel that, oh, it's too much now. We have to leave it. So Yash thinks that now he is not happy. Most of the time he was busy in dancing and drinking. He was with the women. So he thinks that what is his life about? So he want to just leave everything. He want to escape every what was happening with him, what he was enjoying. It was too much for him. So what happened? He did not know what to do. So he just decided to leave the house. When he decided to leave his house, a person who is very frustrated, who is not knowing what to do, he just walk alone on the road. And while walking, things are going in his mind. And also, sometimes they feel like ailing loudly. What they feel? They think that by shouting, by ailing, they will get to know what to do. And thus, he just to roaming in Banaras, he did not know where he was going, just moving, and he passed by the place where Buddha was staying, and the place is called Isipatana, where he was staying with the 5 Parivrajika. A day before, he gave the first sermon to them. And in the morning, when he was, Yasha, when he was moving around, he just sat under a tree. After getting tired, he was physically tired, he was mentally tired. He sat under a tree and he just shouted loudly, saying, what is this life about? Is it full of danger now? Very troublesome life. It's with distress, with danger. What is the way out to leave all these things? Come out of this danger, come out of this distress. He just shouted himself and he is sitting there. We can just imagine, it happens with everyone sometimes. So, yeah, that was the day, the night, Buddha had given the sermon to 5 Parivrajikas. And in the morning, Buddha was just moving around, doing it. It was a kind of meditation. What Buddha used to do as a walking meditation. He was just walking, and he heard the cry of this boy Yash, and suddenly the Buddha reacted and replied to that boy. He replied to Yash, saying, "There is no distress, there is no danger. Come, I will show you the way." Because Buddha has the way out to tell him, he just very politely, very calmly, he says, "Don't be afraid. There won't be any distress or danger. You can come out of it. I will show you the way." And he teaches Yasha about his doctrine, what he has explained to the 5 Parivrajikas. He explained to Yash. Yash, after hearing the Buddha, he became happy, very joyful. And till then, he was just like lost. But when he heard everything, he became happy. He took off his slippers and he bowed to Buddha because he felt very joyful. He was not in distress now. He was not in danger now. And he found that someone is telling him the way out, and just telling it was giving him a way, to come out of his distress. And after hearing that, he took off his slippers because he was from a rich family, wealthy family. It is mentioned here that he was wearing a glitter slipper. So he takes them off, and he sat in front of Buddha and bowed to him. And very respectfully, he asked him to allow him to become his disciple. Because now here the Yasha got the way, what he has to do in his life. So he said that now he want to become the disciple of Buddha. He requests for it. And what the Buddha says, knowing all the problems of Yash, Buddha knew that when he will go back to his own family again as a householder, he would suffer the same thing. So he just said to him, he offered him, we can say, Buddha offered him to become a bhikkhu. Because that was the only path where he can live as a happy person. Now, Yash agreed to it to become a bhikkhu. He accepted the Buddha's offer and he became a bhikkhu. Now, the parents of Yasha, because they did not find Yash anywhere in the house, they just came up searching for him. They again became in distress because he was nowhere. The father started his search. Yasha's father passed by the same spot where the Lord and Yasha in the bhikkhu's garb were seated. And in passing, he asked the Blessed One, "Pray, have you seen Yasha, my son?" So, because it was nearby where Buddha was staying, the Yasha's house was also very nearby. So his father also, in search of Yasha, he passed that way. And when he saw Buddha, he just came to him and asked him whether have you seen his son Yash. And the Buddha says, "Come in, sir. You will find your son." Because the Buddha knew that his son was with him. He just welcomed him and say, "You just come in, you will find your son." He went in and sat near his son, but he knew him not. Because Yash became a bhikkhu, his head was shaved, he was in robes, without any ornaments, without any heavy and wealthy clothes. He was sitting with Buddha, and the father was not able to recognize him. So he set sight to his son, but he did not know that his son is sitting beside him. He sat there, and Buddha told his father how he met with Yasha and how he brought him out of his distress and grieveness, and he became a bhikkhu. Everything was explained by Buddha to Yash father, and then father saw at his son who was sitting side to him, and he saw him in a bhikkhu robe. He saw it in him robe, but he was very happy. Even though his son was in robe, his son had become a bhikkhu, he got happy because Yash was happy in robe. He thought that his son has chosen a very right path, and so he became happy for Yash for becoming him a bhikkhu. He says that he was happy that he has chosen the right path. He said to him, "My son Yasha, your mother is absorbed in lamentation and grief. Return home and restore your mother to life." He did not know that after becoming a bhikkhu, he can return. Going is different and returning is different. So, please make the difference between these two. Returning home and going to home. This has created a misunderstanding with many people who think that if you become a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, you cannot go home. But if you feel, you should not return home. So returning is different and going is different. So here, this Yasha's father did not know that he became a bhikkhu, whether he can return home or not. And he requested him that he should return home because his mother is in grief. He is in very sorrow, very sad because his son is not with him. So, here again we find how the Buddha's teachings was very flexible. He says, when Yash looks at Buddha, because he took robe from Buddha and it was his own request that he want to become a bhikkhu. After requesting, only Buddha gave him the robes. So, before going back or taking any decision, the Yash looked at Buddha in a question like coming in on his face, saying that what he should do. And Buddha finds out his confusion. Buddha says to his father, now Yasha's father, he replies that, "Is that your wish that Yasha should return to the world and enjoy the pleasure of the worldly life as he did before?" Understand here, Buddha never replied many of the questions directly. He put forward another question to the one who asked him the question. So here, Buddha asked question to his father, whether he want his son to be a householder and live a life as he was living before. But Yash's father again Yash's father replied to the Buddha then, if Yash, my son, finds it again to stay with you, let him stay. See, these words are coming to from his fathers, who says that if Yash want to stay here, he can stay with you, and if he want to return, he can return. So now, according to the Buddha and according to Yash's father, the decision was only dependent on the Yasha, what he thinks. And Yasha says he want to remain a bhikkhu. Now, as he want to remain as a bhikkhu, there was no way to return. There was no thing to that he can return to his house. So now his father understands that he won't return because he would be staying as a bhikkhu. So he requests for other thing, like what he says, may the blessed one, O Lord, consent to take his meal at my home with the members of my family. I think this was the first meal taken in the house of a householder. What we say, no, when Upasaka requests to take a meal, they request to come to their house. And here, Yash's father was the first one to ask them to take a meal at their house. Otherwise, they were always taking the bowl and going for alms. That was the routine and that was the rule for the bhikkhus, those who are in robes. So here, Buddha accepted his request and he wear the robes. Taking his bowl, he goes with Yasha to his father's house for meal. When they go there, they met the mother of Yash. And also, because Yash was married earlier, they met with his wife too. Now, both of them, after the meal, they were giving the preachings of Buddha. Buddha gave them, preached them about his teachings. The whole family listened to Buddha's teachings and they feel very happy. Now, everyone who is happy with the teachings of Buddha, they used to take refuge in Buddha. It has become a routine at that time, it was very common because his teachings was such that everyone wanted to know more and more about his teachings. They wanted more and more to hear from him. So they wanted to take refuge in him. They wanted to become his disciples. So it started with the Parivrajikas, then with the Yasha, and now the family of the Yash. Everyone felt happy. Now there were 4 friends of Yasha. Now, what the Yasha say, these friends, about Yasha talk about his friends, they were Vimala, Suhabu, Punyajit, and Gavanpati. They were also very rich, from the rich family. So, Yash thinks that they are also from the rich family like him. So, they would be having the same problem, same distress, same grievances, what he was facing. So, anyone going to Dhamma who knows Buddha's teaching feel like giving it to others too, because they want the near and dear ones to know the teachings of Buddha so that they can also be happy in their life. So he asked, he thinks of them And these all four of them, they got to know that Yash became a bhikkhu. He took refuge in Buddha and his Dhamma. They felt that what is good for Yasha must be good for them also. Now all these four friends of Yasha thinks because Yash went to Buddha and took refuge in Buddha and Dhamma, this would also be good for them. So they went to Yash and asked him to approach the Buddha on their behalf to receive them as disciples. Now here again we find here, because Yash became a bhikkhu, they wanted to become a bhikkhu. They did not know what Buddha's teaching was, who Buddha was, but they just believed, they trusted Yash that he took this path, there must be something good for them too. So they wanted them to be introduced to Buddha and also to accept them as the disciples. Yash agreed and he went to the Buddha, saying, "May the Blessed One preach the Dhamma to these four friends of mine." The Lord agreed and Yasha's friend took refuge in the Dhamma. Because again the request came from the other side, through Yasha, all the four, they came there and Buddha accepted teaching them, because Buddha really wanted his teachings to spread to the people so that they can come out of the sufferings. So he told them, he preached them, and all the four were so much happy that they took refuge in Buddha and Sangha. See here, there's the difference. Yasha though became a bhikkhu, he took refuge in Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, we can say, because there was already Sangha, bhikkhu Sangha of 5. But here, the friends, they took refuge in Buddha and Dhamma. Even the Yashas family, they took refuge in Buddha and Dhamma. There is no mention here whether they became bhikkhu or not. But they took refuge in Buddha and Dhamma. Now I want to explain here something regarding this part, this first chapter. From the morning it's coming in my mind that we always think that Buddha's teachings is for the poor, for the one who are not treated as human beings, and also for the poor. Now, nowadays we find that the people who had accepted Buddhism because of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, and even though because of the Constitution of India and the special facilities given to the SC and STs, many of them got the job, a good job in their life. They became rich because they got a good job. They had a good house now. Even they are living in good bungalows. They have no less in nothing. They are lacking nothing in their life. What we can say as pleasure, what they want in their life, they are getting it. They are having money. They are having their good house. They are having their good clothes. They are happily moving from one place to another. There is no one to stop them to do what they want to do. So many of them are saying that now they don't need the Dhamma. Now they don't want to follow Buddhism because they are happy in their life. But when we are going through this first chapter, the one who are coming to Buddha are the rich people. This thing, today's people becoming rich are not understanding. They think they don't need Buddha's teachings. This is the difference. If they go through this whole Buddha and his Dhamma and understand that Buddha's teaching is not only for poor or rich or something like, it is for all the human being, and everyone is having, they are suffering from something. So they should understand this. Not only the poor people should come here, or those who are not behaved well as a human being, or they are not given anything, they should come to Dhamma, but everyone should come. Because they don't know that the rich people nowadays, they don't know that still they are suffering. This is what Buddha says. You have to recognize first that you have suffering even in your life. Even though you are rich, even though you are from the royal family, even though everything is fulfilled in your life, but still you have suffering, and that suffering is a lack of happiness in your life, the lack of peace in your life. To gain this peace, to gain this happiness, you have to understand the teachings of Buddha, and you have to come to understand what he wants to say. You have to learn Dhamma, what it is. So these are the things which everyone has to understand. These are the things what we have, what Parivrajikas says. Because they were Parivrajikas, it was not only for them that Dhamma was there. It is nowadays the people, like they say that everything is happening because of the God, or because of the some supernatural power, supernatural human being. Someone is there, like something is there in the nature who is helping them. Nothing is there unless and until Baba Sahib had not done what he had done for us, what he had written in the constitution, the rights he has given. Unless and until you did not get it, you were not able to change your life accordingly. So, and Baba Sahib say, yes, this is the need. And even Buddha says that living poor, living without wealth, it's not the solution. But excess of wealth is a problem. Access of everything is a problem. So even though now what the Buddha has said, what Baba Sahib had explained, many people are finding that they should earn money a lot and spend it. Just spend for their happiness. But gaining that money and spending that money is not giving them happiness. That is what it is here. So everyone have to think that Buddha's Dhamma is for everyone, whether they are rich or whether they are poor, whether they are from the SC, whether they are from the ST, whether they are from the OBC. This is only like what we say, what the Baba Sahib had formed the caste, the list of caste, the schedule of caste. But Buddha's teaching is for all the religion people too, whether they are Christians, whether they are Muslims, whatever religion they belong to, whatever God they believe in, whatever thing they believe in, this is very much important. So Buddha's teaching is not to gain something like pleasure, but it is for happiness and peace. So it is worldwide, Buddha's teaching is accepted. This is the only reason for peace and happiness. The Buddha's teaching is accepted in the world. Now the second chapter comes as the conversion of Kashyapas, and I think it is a big chapter, so we can have it in another class. I just avoided this at present because it will take a long time to complete this. So can we keep today? Now it is 11:15. So 10 minutes we can have it for question and answers. I think so.
Thank you, Bhanteji.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening.
Bhanteji, Karl Marx here. I have a doubt.
Yes.
After hearing Buddha's Dharma,
Yeah.
it seems somehow becoming bhikkhus.
Yeah.
And in some cases, Buddha himself recognized the stage of the person and inviting this stage. Yasha was initially asking to become a divine.
Yeah.
So disciple means upasaka.
Yeah.
And bhikkhu means an articulate into the fire.
Yeah.
And in this conversation part, we are always remember and more becoming bhikkhu and more becoming upasakas and upasakas. Am I right, Bhanteji?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Actually, conversion is not becoming a bhikkhu itself. Conversion means you're converting your mind, you're converting your lifestyle, you're converting yourself for everything what you want now. Because it's converting your sufferings to happiness, we can say. At the end, before requesting to become a disciples, we find this sentence, they became happy. They are joyful now. Because what Buddha is saying is having a lot of meaning in the life, which is changing. That is conversion. That conversion we have to understand. It is not religion as such. What we now know as conversion, we know it as becoming a Buddhist from Hindu. That is conversion. This is the changing of religion. But here it was not talking of anything like religion as such. It is changing of life. Conversion of way of living your life. This is what it is. I think I was able to explain it well.
It was beautiful, Bhanteji.
Thank you.
Bhanteji, I have another silly question.
Yeah.
அண்ணா கொஞ்சம் எக்கோ ஆகுதுண்ணா பார்த்து பேசுங்க.
Bhanteji, is it general because bhikkhuni I could understand the differences, and sometimes we call amma Bhanteji as a amma like that. But somewhere some bhikkhus said that Bhante is a male. It's a term allocated for male bhikkhus.
Bhanteji, unmute yourself, please. Because there is echo. So when you're not talking, you can mute and then unmute.
Okay. Actually, here we'll have to go through the Pali dictionary then, because the Bhante word is from Pali, and it says that Bhante means venerable, honorable, adarniya, like respected person. So it is like when we are calling someone, we could not call them as bhikkhuji or bhikkhuniji, so we call them venerable. In the same way, when we want to call someone in Pali, use the Pali word, they used to call Bhanteji. So here this word is not for male or female. It is used for the respected person. Especially nowadays, we say it is used for bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Earlier, it was used for all the honorable persons, So, because there were only bhikkhus in middle time, we can say, there were no bhikkhunis. The word was used for them only. So no bhikkhunis, so there was no use of saying, or no one was able to understand why this word is now used for bhikkhunis, because bhikkhunis are coming now. No, people are seeing them from last 50 to 55 years. We can see the bhikkhunis. I think most of them even don't know there are bhikkhunis. So this word was used for bhikkhus because they were there. Bhikkhunis were not there. So now when this word is used for bhikkhunis, some say, because they don't know the meaning of this, they say that it is only for bhikkhus. How can it be only for bhikkhus? As we say master. Master is for male or female. Doctor is for male or female. This is the, in Hindi we can say sambodhan, to call them. Okay, so we cannot call them by name. We cannot call them by bhikkhu or bhikkhunis. We say they are bhikkhu and bhikkhunis. But to call them, we have to use this word Bhante. And regarding Amma or Mataji, this is like the bhikkhus were asked by the Buddha that they should call bhikkhunis Mataji, not called, but they should treat them as Mataji. That is Amma. Because the first bhikkhuni, Mahaprajapati Gautami, was the mother of Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. So, we have to look at them, look at the bhikkhunis as Matajis. Now, again this word, look at them like Matajis, means we have also to behave with them like Amma or Mataji. But what happened, the bhikkhus just called them Mataji or bhikkhus, but they did not give the respect as Mataji or Amma. That was lacking again. And Buddha meant that. Buddha mean that everyone should respect them as Mataji. So it was from the bhikkhu side, they used to call Mataji and Amma. And because people heard bhikkhus saying Mataji and Amma, people also started calling Mataji and Amma. Okay, but the consequences we can find it now, that because of this word Mataji and Amma, the bhikkhuni word has been disappeared. This word, many people don't know that there are bhikkhunis. This word is not in existence. So we are coming up with this word saying that yes, we are bhikkhunis. You have to say bhikkhunis. Even if you don't say Bhante, it's no problem. But please say bhikkhuniji. So that this word should have its own identity. So everyone should know that there was a bhikkhuni sangha at that time of Buddha, which has been vanished, which has been disappeared. It has to take that recognition again. It has to be identified by the people. Otherwise, this sangha was nowhere at all. Only 3 sanghas were available: Bhikkhu Sangha, Upasak Sangha, and Upasika Sangha. We find many people saying Bhikkhu Sangha, and when we say we are here, why don't you say Bhikkhuni Sangha too? So they say Bhikkhu Sangha includes Bhikkhuni Sangha. The reply comes that way, and we say, then why do you say Bhikkhu, Upasak Sangha and Upasika Sangha differently? There is a difference. You have to say that, because it gives motivation to the women. When you say bhikkhunis, that women can also become a bhikkhuni if they want. So this is a motivational part. So we have to say that bhikkhunis exist, bhikkhuni sangha exists, and really it exists now. We are working on it. So I again want to tell you, I'm taking this opportunity to tell everyone in this group that the coming September 29th and 30th, of this year, the Bhikkhuni Sangha Day, foundation of Bhikkhuni Sangha Day is being celebrated in Mumbai, New Mumbai, Vashi. This Bhadrapad Purnima, Bhadrapad full moon day, the first Bhikkhuni of India, that is the Mahaprajapati Gautami Bhikkhuni, took 500 Bhikkhunis and they formed a Sangha on that day. So we want to make known everyone that this day was the Bhikkhuni Sangha Foundation Day. So we are celebrating it, and I request everyone, I invite everyone to be present at that moment of celebration of Bhikkhuni Sangha Day on 29th and 30th of September. I would be putting this in this group, so everyone is expected. And if anyone want to, I'll give you the topics on which the panel discussions would be there. So I would like, if anyone interested can speak on it, prepare a paper on it, send to us as soon as possible, and please give your views in that function, in that event. So this is, I think, Kalmas, you understood what? Yeah.
Sure, Bhante. Please share and we will try to propagate this thing because Dhamma Rally also starts on 30th, September 30th. And I just want to continue with another silly question, but it is essential. Bhante itself is a term used for reverence. It means venerable. So there is no need to as Bhanteji. But while we say Bhikkhu or Bhikkhuni, we can say it as Bhikkhuniji or Bhikkhuji. And specifically, it is appropriate to term it as just as Bhante. Right, Bhante?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So I have one question to Bhanteji. Basically, we are organizing this yatra right now, and I'm noticing there is a lot of conflict and apprehension towards Buddhists. It's like a very general question, if I may just discuss, because people are from the community here, and I want to know, especially Bhante's views on it. So we face a lot of, like, I'm seeing that the Hindu SC people, they tend to see Buddhists as throwing elitism or new Brahminism. Why we follow these 5 precepts and we don't encourage things like alcohol or intoxication as a part of our culture, because what they are trying to say is this is a part of our culture, right? Alcohol, it's all SC culture. That's what they're saying. Our communities have this thing. We have these big events, and during these events, we tend to drink alcohol, and that's a part of our culture. So now it's again, so that's the reason I immediately had an expression that said, no, I don't approve of it. So immediately that went to a conversation of how they are apprehensive of Buddhists because they think that we are elitist. So such resistances towards Buddhist SCs are within the SC communities. When we are organizing a yatra, especially this is outside of Maharashtra. Maharashtra has a good understanding of all of this. Probably there it's a different scenario. But here in Karnataka, since there is not as much awareness, we are facing these resistances and conflicts with our fellow SC people. They somehow think we are above them, but for us it is just it's a civilizational values of our ancestors is how I see it. That these things we give up so that we can have something better. We don't make this because due to alcohol, it's not like they are drinking alcohol and being on their own and not disturbing others. A lot of conflict, a lot of violence, a lot of abuse within families in Dalit families. They are facing these alcohol abuse and discord. So I was just thinking, and what is wrong in looking down upon it is my question. And why are they so resistant to seeing that as a problem?
We can say now from many years the SC people were it's a big answer as the question was so big. So actually from many years the SC people were treated as untouchables, and their work was such that they used to forget their hard work and the filthy work, we can say, very dirty work. They used to drink and forget what they are doing it. So it has become the habit of them, to take the liquor and all. Now also you will find practically when you go to the medical, like hospitals where the dead people are brought, in the morgue where the dead bodies are kept, when the doctors do postmortem and the body is after postmortem, it has been stitched by the laborers there. They say, we have met with such kind of people, they say that while doing this work, we are not able to do it unless we drink alcohol. That is, drinking alcohol is not using your mind, because your mind is not aware of good things. You are pressurized to do that kind of work which is not accepted by you. So this liquor problem will it is like stopping from you to think over it again and again as a human being, and you do that. So they are in that things. But okay, while doing that, you are having that drink liquor. It's we can say yes, acceptance for at some limit, because most of the time it is a dawa daru. That word is used, dawa daru. That means the daru or liquor is taken in as a form of medicine. It's also there, it's taken as a medicine in very small quantity, which is not affecting your mind, which is not affecting your thoughts. But if you want to be a good person, yes, they will say it is elite, but we have to make them understand you can also become elite. Buddhism is there to bring everyone out of their suffering. They are not thinking that taking liquor or drinking alcohol is making them suffer in their family. Their family is not getting proper education. Their family is not getting proper food. They are not having proper housing. They are not living happily in their life. So drinking is one of the hindrance to have a good life. So we have to make them understand. We have to talk them with we can say very compassion. We have to make them understand, yes, what they are doing is good, okay, but they should come out from it slowly. They can also, because we are not different from you, we are from you. Why they think elite, you are elite, we are other people who become Buddhist are elite, because they think most of the Buddhist people don't want to talk to them. They look them down. You should not. Buddhism never teaches them to look others down. We have to bring them up. We have to tell them everything. Please come up, please come. See how your wife is suffering, how your children are suffering, how your children can get good education. That we have to make them understand. If you leave this, we have to give them the economical this thing, how much money they are spending in drinking. That we have to tell them. It will take time, I know, I understand. But okay, there is a resistance, means we are going on right path. There had to be. If there is no resistance, means you are not doing anything and nothing is affecting them. Now at least they are thinking that the next generation will think good of it. Let the earlier generation do that, but new generation is knowing it through our efforts, whether it is yatra, whether any other event, any other Buddhist ceremonies. We have to invite all the people who are from SCs and also those who are suffering. We know that they are suffering, but they are not knowing. So we have to call them. Personally, if you talk to them, they will again revolt. But we have to talk them in group. So it is a need. We have to do that. Nothing different. We have to accept everything. I think Mridula, I was. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else?
Anyone else has any question?
पंचायती इनसे थोड़ा कोई और जोड़ना चाहता है तो जोड़ेंगे मैसेज बोलते हैं लिंक
Okay, I think there are no more questions now, and time is also gone over. Yeah, so we can leave. Or if Mridula wants to take a Metta session, you can continue.
Yes, I'll
Yeah. Thank you everyone.